Hello everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Quick fire update here on Zilliqa, ZIL, ZIL on the exchange. Before we go into the charts, let's just take a quick look at a couple of top line aspects of Zilliqa. Of course, it's one of our favorite projects here. I think we say that on every video, I think. But generally speaking, because the reason we invest in projects is because we believe in them. Of course, we do have a couple out there that we just literally use for money making and perhaps don't really have an interest in the real world aspect of it. But for me, Zilliqa is certainly of great interest for sure in the long run. And it has been since we sort of first, I would say we came across it, that's a lie. We actually very big believers and viewers of cheeky crypto over the last couple of years, especially through the pandemic. I have to say, in that particular situation, it was because there was not much to do, of course, at those sort of periods of time, that it was great to do a load of research and understand more about the crypto market and stuff like that. But they were very heavy believers in Zilliqa, in the platform. I did a lot of research around that, and then obviously since then I've been building my portfolio. Been putting mine into staking, as you know from previous videos, using the Zilliqa or certainly the ZIL wallet, of which we're getting very good returns on because of the amount that we've got in there. And I continue to try and find Zilliqa at good prices to bolster that. So we'll go into the chart in a bit more to talk about that in more detail. But right now, I just wanted to emphasize a couple of points. Of course, with Zilliqa, over 190 projects registered as of 18th of January. Very interesting system, layer one being Zilliqa, and they've got so many projects already interlaced. Some of these you can kind of partially ignore because they're just exchange listings. That's kind of like where they're partners, obviously, but they're still part of the ecosystem in some capacity. But of course, big projects like we talk about XCAD quite a lot, which is really interesting, developing so fast. And of course, so many things will be happening on XCAD that will be powered by Zilliqa. Both of those projects will go in tangent and just do great things. And the price, I'm sure, will be escalated further as more and more people get involved in the aspect, certainly through XCAD, of that view to earn potential, and obviously creators earning money as well. So really cool. There's loads of other stuff involving like NFT projects and technological projects as well. I mean, it could be a forever going through all of them, but there's some really good quick pointers here. Of course, QuantStamp, absolutely fantastic in terms of the tool mechanisms, the development mechanism behind that. Would be one of the argued bigger ones to maybe bring out in this portfolio that they've got here. But really interesting to see the continuous development. Interesting to see how fast they'll get to 200. I think more and more projects will definitely be using Zilliqa moving forward in the future. But of course, they've got this big conversation still going on about Metopolis. It's a big social media touch point for these guys on social media and everything else that they do. Lots of AMAs going on with their team on a consistent basis. But, we talk about like Ready Player One of our favorite films. We talk about the aspect of, VR and AR and arguably MR combining itself, where Zilliqa is, I believe, the first layer one protocol system to be doing something like this. Okay, so of course there's quite a few metaverse applications out there already. We talk about like Decentraland, got Blocktopia. Zilliqa is trying to build essentially its own complete mechanism of a world. Now, when we talk about world, it's difficult because you can have all these different projects having their different metaverses, but they're going to interlace together at some point so you can jump in between each other. It could just be that Zilliqa has its own like recognized region or city or something within the complete metaverse system. I think it's really exciting to see how that develops. But Metopolis is growing and growing. I'd love to see more development news around this. We will probably cover Zilliqa again in another week or two's time, because usually around the first or towards the end of the first week or the second week of each month, you usually get the updated newsletter from them. So I'm interested to see all of the developments in a summarized format for January and what is to come in the future as well. But really excited about that aspect, and this extended reality topic is just absolutely phenomenal to really get your head around a lot more. So this article is more than 2 years old, but it's still obviously relevant. Do listen to it if you have the trouble reading it or whatever. But of course, XR is this like blend of VR and MR, and XR is bringing this next level of interaction of you being able to switch between realities. I mean, it's quite something difficult to comprehend. It's things when I was a kid, VR was coming in and out similar to 3D, and it was like VR never really took out, but the concept was there. It wasn't ready. Even knowing of various applications like Second Life and VR meeting rooms and stuff like this years and years ago. But the market wasn't ready. But now we're in a situation where the next generation of gamers are coming up. There's more affordability in VR units, and there's more interest now in like crypto, the metaverse, and what's going on. And in my honest opinion, like the depression in the world and like people's realities are so skewed right now with so much confusion and sadness potentially and things like that. It's just like, I could see majority of the population of the world getting lost in metaverse, where the point where they'll be in it so much and be able to do what they want and be who they want, which is really cool in some ways and not so in others, but it's each to their own. And I think you're going to see people getting really confused with the different realities, and I can honestly say that many people will just want to stay in there as long as possible. And it's kind of weird really, because it's each individual's own life. They can make their own decisions, of course, and then you define what's real and what isn't. Real means like what you feel, what you see, what you sense, right? In my opinion, like your environment. Now, if your environment or your reality or your feelings are better served in another place, then that's down to you. But it's going to be a really interesting topic. And what I was thinking of doing, actually, let us know in the comments below if you think this is a cool idea. We did our first like live video last week. It was a bit of a mess at the end, but what I was planning to do is get something like Rendezvous or Wirecast set up, and maybe have like a call-in for people around the world, and we'll have like maybe a moral conversation about like who agrees or disagrees with like XR or VR and this whole metaverse situation, and what people think like good and bad about it. So let us know if you think that's a cool idea, and we could get like maybe a lineup of loads of people calling in, have maybe like a few minutes each person for like an hour, and see how we go. I thought it'd be quite cool. Otherwise, I'll just waffle on it about myself. It's not a problem. But look at that. By 2022, the XR market. So this was written 2 years ago. The XR market to reach $209 billion. Well, let's have a look quickly. See how far off they are. The extended XR market was valued at US dollars to 25.84 billion in 2020, so it's very much when they were talking about it, and anticipating 397.8 billion by 2026. That is absolutely crazy, isn't it? Is that real? By 2035, 1.2, is that 1.2 trillion? I think that is absolutely incredible numbers here. 393 by 2025. It's all very much around the similar sort of numbers. Adoption of 5G, of course, Web3, all of these crazy things, but that's a big jump, isn't it? Look at that. 2019, 18.6, 2020, 45. Wow. Well, certainly I will probably be looking more and more at these companies. Well, arguably probably the best time I've done it was a few years ago, but very interesting to see these humongous numbers. That might even be a title for this video, who knows? But very interesting, guys, and this is what Metopolis is gearing towards. It's what Zilliqa is gearing towards as part of its protocol and system, not fully singularly, but certainly a big part of it. It's another reason why I'm excited about this project. Let's look at the chart, guys, and see where we are with Zilliqa. We haven't covered this for at least a couple of weeks or so, so it's definitely going to be good to have a quick fire look at this. Do smash that like button and the subscribe button as well if you like what you hear and see. Make sure you get reminded of all our videos by hitting that bell button as well. We'll try and keep this relatively short and simple, but we are looking at a price point, of course, here on the right hand side, 4.3 cents of Zilliqa, very heavily down on a lot of the performance indicators here. What I'm liking about Zilliqa, we've covered this in a multitude of videos already in the last few days, is this support mechanism here. All the charts appear to be doing this exact same movement. It's quite fascinating, really. Unless a project particularly comes out with specific news, this is looking like the momentum for the next few days. On this guarding point, I'm always very interested in potential opportunities for lower areas while we're in this stabilizing position. It's literally a battle every day. These volumes are low, and we can see that as well on the RSI and the MACD charts, which I'll pull up just now just to confirm that. So we're still in the overselling aspect. The MACD is still very wide, so it's not completely over. I'd probably see at least a good 3 or 4 days more of this before we determine whether we're pulling it up or not. But the RSIs, look at that, very, very stabilized right now. 29 on the 14-day, 28-day is showing 35, absolutely crazy. And the 90-day is showing 44. So we've come down slightly further. I think one of our lowest days was around this mark here and here, 24th of January. So it is literally stabilizing right now. It's deciding what it wants to do. So I'm very interested in a potential lower opportunity than what it is now. We obviously came down, I think, what was it, 3.8, I think? 3.758, yeah, so 3.7 cents. My next market down that I'd be quite interested in, personally, is just maybe at this like 3.6 cent mark, similar to what we had a few days ago at 3.7. But I'm going to put markers in there and some buy opportunities for there as well, just literally maybe even actually just dipping under 3.5 also. It's not a huge significant area, but just to try and see if I can get a bit of a saving there. But in all honesty, I'm happy when I get paid on the 1st to really inject my Zilliqa on my Zilliq wallet further for sure, because I think it is absolutely mental to see Zilliqa this low. We had a high of 25 cents or so last year around April time, which is absolutely mega, and that was actually as well after such nothing really happening up until really these markers here, January mark, and then it just went absolutely flying. We've had this correctional period which has been long overdue on many charts and many assets. But I feel like if you were saying to me, like, without the except I don't know what that's doing there, I don't know if that's moved up. If you said to me like perhaps towards the latter end of last year when we're having a slight correctional period, that we would be coming down to under like 5 cents, I'd be like, wow, that would be an amazing opportunity to purchase. So I was buying most of my Zilliqa down at this like 1.5-2 cent mark. Even I think back in 2020 when it wasn't even 1 cent, I can't remember. But it's come a long way to 25 cents, guys. That's absolutely mental. And you've of course got the ZIL token as well, which played its part also. That stopped in terms of reward mechanism, but I managed to get a good amount of that as well. But from what I read the other day, ZIL will have a very important part in terms of governance when using in Metopolis. So we're going to cover that in the next video. I'm trying to see when this new article will come out of January, because I would like to tie that in with that conversation. It's really interesting. I did wonder what they would do with ZIL more prominently moving forward. So let's keep an eye on that. I think that's a really important point. But yeah, very much for me right now, guys, I'm not expecting any kind of like upward trend for Zilliqa in the short term for sure. But I'm hoping selfishly for payday it's either a bit lower under that 4 cent mark, but certainly if it's where it is now or indeed under 5 cents, I will be snapping that right up. Let us know what you're doing with Zilliqa at the moment. Have you been purchasing in this bear market? Do you think it's going to come down lower, or do you think we're going to see an uprise? I don't think we're going to see an uprise just yet, because we mentioned about the MACDs being still very widened and we haven't completed this mechanism of sell-off yet, in my opinion. But the performance indicators are showing red all over, still in a bit of a sell mode. But this 6 months and this 3 months is of great interest, because it's showing quite a heavy number to suggest that we're at the very pit of what Zilliqa could or should be. And we'll just confirm something quickly as well, because we always mention that a big correction is usually anticipation of around from all-time highs around 60 to 70%. So it's very much heavily involved itself a lot higher than that. But you could argue, I mean, that was quite some time ago in May. It has had quite a significant drop, but you could potentially take it from the previous high point, was in September, and that would certainly put us near that 70% mark that we usually talk about. So that probably makes more sense. I would suggest that we're at the very bottom levels of Zilliqa. For us to be pulled down extremely lower than that, you'd need Bitcoin probably to surpass or even indeed drop below 32,000, and indeed to 30,000 perhaps. I can't see that massively happening. It depends on the narratives of the world, of course, but yeah, very much around that 30 region could arguably drop us quite significantly quick. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. But I'm looking at it day by day at the moment, guys. It's impossible. If anyone says they know what's going on with the charts, they're lying. There's no way they can tell right now, because there's so much volatility in the world, both stock markets, finance, narratives of battles and this, that and the other. It's impossible. But for Zilliqa's perspective, guys, I'm super excited to see these prices, considering where I think Zilliqa could go this year, especially with Metopolis and all the other cool stuff going on. But guys, we'll catch up with Zilliqa, as I said, hopefully very soon when their article comes out. Would love to cover that. And do let us know if you'd like to do a live session, call-in session, to discuss Zilliqa in more detail, and especially about the moralistic aspect of the metaverse in general. Let us know and we'll do it for sure if there's enough demand. Thanks for watching, guys. We will indeed see you in the next Zilliqa video. Bye-bye.